Hello, everybody. Hemon's here. So I'm gonna read the two stories. The first story is the talented Clementine. Enjoy the video. The talented Clementine. Clementine has a big problem. She has no talents, and tonight is the big talent palooza. Every third and fourth grader will be dancing, singing or turning coffee, except Clementine. Even Morgan, her best friend, has an act. Now Clementine has to tell Miss Rice, the principal, and Morgan's sister why she won't be performing. What can Clementine say? For one, she is completely out of ideas. When I walked into the auditorium, I saw Margaret's teacher and Miss Rice sitting at the side of the stage and told director suggest. I tried to hide, but Margaret's teacher saw me. She looked down at her clipboard and frowned. Then she yelled so loud, all the kids in the auditorium stopped what they were doing to listen. Clementine, I don't seem to have you listed here. No matter we'll fit you in. What's your act? I went over and whispered in her ear that I didn't have one. I hope the kids watching though was saying I couldn't choose one because I had too many chances. What do you mean you don't have one? Margaret's teacher yelled. Even even though I was right there. Okay, fine. Maybe she didn't yell it, but all the kids were listening so hard they heard anyway. Hey, Clementine, one of the fourth graders called out. Your face looks like it's running out. Maybe that could be your act. About a million kids out. Even though he was not funny, but he was right. When I get embarrassed, my face gets red and hard, so I didn't yell anything back to him. I just stood there with my red, hard face handing down. Miss Rice called me up. Come sit beside me, Clementine, she said. You can keep me company during the rehearsal. So I just sit in between Miss Rice and Margaret's teachers right here at the side of the stage where the kids could see me and know that I had no talent. The first act was called the Dozen Duty Z. Cartwheelers. 12 kids lined up, 6 on each side of the stage. Wait, I yelled. I ran into the gym and dragged a tumbling mat back into the auditorium. I placed it on the floor in front of the stage, then I got some of the dozen duties to help me. Recently, we had all the mats piled up. Margaret's teacher was going at me. She tapped her watch. They're going over, I explained. No matter how they started off aiming, some of them are going over, and I did. And at least half a dozen of the duties went flying off the stage and right onto the mats. As soon as we got those kids back up and checked them for broken bones, I saw something else with my amazing corner eyes. Stop, I yelled. Then I ran over and grabbed a handful of crackers from one of the third graders just before they went into his mouth. You up next, I remind him. And no, and you whistling Yankee Doodle Danny. No crackers. When I got back, Morgan's teacher gave me a look that said she was going to remember all this nonsense when I got into her grade. But Miss Wright gave me a thumbs up. Thank you, Clementine, she said. Those crackers could have been a problem. And you will not believe what happened next, Margaret's teacher apologized. I'm sorry, she said. I'm a little antsy tonight. I wanted to stick around to hear about why she was antsy. But just then, I noticed that the super duper hula hoopers had been hula hooping for a while. I went over and asked them how long they were planning to go on. The girl on the right said, I went for 5 hours and 13 minutes. The girl on the left made a face that said, that's nothing. Well, you need to have an ending tonight, I said. There are lots of acts after yours. I borrowed a jump rope, a CD player, and explained how they could hula hoop to the music, and then STOP stopped when it was over. And I didn't even get to sit down again for the rest of the afternoon because everybody needed my help was something funny. After everyone had a chance to practice their acts, I went over to Miss Rice. Maybe I go to the office and use the phone. I need to call my parents and tell them not to come. I think it's a little late for that. Miss Rice showed me a water and then called out, "Take your places, people. 5 minutes to showtime." Everybody ran to their places. I ran to the curtains and peeked out. Every seat in the audience was filled. Margaret's teachers clapped her hands for attention. "Before we get started," she said, "I just want to thank you for all being part of the show. Each and every one is every one of you is helping to raise money for the big school trip next spring, except Clementine." Okay, fine. She didn't actually say except Clementine, but you could see everyone was thinking it. Just then the secretary came over and said, handed her a note. Oh my goodness, she cried. She jumped up out of a seat faster than a grown-up should. "Oh my goodness gracious, it's now my granddaughter's baby, my first grandchild." "Go," said Miss Rice. It's all right. We can handle the show. Just go be with your daughter." "Oh, thank you," Margaret just said. And then she left so fast. She really didn't lose one of her body pins. It didn't look like lightning, though. It just looked like a pin falling to the floor. "Oh," I said to Miss Rice. So now you have to run the whole show by yourself." "No, not by myself," Mrs. Rice said. "I have an assistant, and that's you." "Oh, no, I can't." "You can, and I'm certainly not on doing this alone. I really can't. I don't pay attention, remember?" "You do pay attention, Clementine. Not always a lesson in the classroom, but you notice more about what's going on than anyone." "I know, and that's exactly what I need tonight." "I don't think that this is a very good idea at all." "Well, I do think it's a good idea. I'll prove it to you." Principal Rice called over one of the hula hoopers. "Hillary, what's the second up after intermission?" Hillary looked around. "I don't have a program," she said. "Do you want me to get you one?" Miss Rice told her, "No, thanks." Then she turned to me. "Clementine, what's the second act after intermission?" Cape from the fourth grade is going to book the Star-Spangled Banner. "Ooh, gulp," I told her. "Does he need any props?" "A 2-liter bottle of root beer." "How long does it take?" 41 seconds. 48 if he had to stop to drink extra so that rockets regularly apart. "I went by case," Principal Rice said. She pointed a no-butt finger at the empty, directed chair. "When a principal orders you to do something, it is impossible to refuse. So one of you always gives in." So I climbed into the chair, opened the curtains, Principal Rice said, and the worry scribbly feelings flowed all through my body. Well, you would think those kids had never had a rehearsable soul. First thing all dozen duties wheeled off the edge of the stage. Well, except for one girl who forgot to move at all. Maria and Morris boys noise from my class went up next, and they cartwheeled right off the stage too. Nobody had to go to the emergency room though, and the audience thought the whole thing was supposed to happen that way, so it was okay. The next act was the O'Malley twins. Lily has convinced Willie not to do the thing with his lunch and play a duet on the piano with her instead. But when Lily got up to make Mike to announce the act, she got so nervous and she threw up. I looked at Willie, sitting on the piano bench. Willie does everything Lily does, and sure enough, he was getting ready. Not on the piano, just in time. Then I ran over and closed the curtains quick. So the whole idea wouldn't get started too. When a janitor came run to clean everyone up, I had a good idea. Sit the other voice in front of the curtain. I told Miss White. "Why?" she asked. "There's no microphone out there." "That's okay. Cindy's really loud, and she She's going to recite a problem so there's no cartwheeling, just standing still. Besides, she got really skinny feet so she can fit out there if she stands sideways. So Cynthia went on stage and stood sideways and yelled at Pope. By the time she was done, the stage was all mopped clean. Next came the hula hoopers, and they completely forgot what I've told them about stopping. The music ended, but they just kept on going. Finally, I had to close the curtains to pull them off the stage so the jump ropers could go on. The jump ropers must have figured if the hula hoopers didn't have to stop at the end of the music. Neither did they, so I had to close the curtains on them too. Then came Margaret. She did fine after walking on stage on time thing, which not everybody did. But just as she got to the microphone, Alan took a picture of her from the audience, which was a bad mistake. Whenever anyone takes a picture of Margaret that she isn't expecting, she freezes. She said it's the honor of not knowing if she looks perfect or not, which I don't understand because Margaret always looked perfect. That's perfect. No matter there she was, frozen on the stage with her mouth hanging open for one tiny second. A little part of me thought, "Good no, showing up before you tonight." But then my empathic part took over. I ran to where Margaret could see me and waved until I got her eyes to unfreeze. I pointed to my hair and pretended to brush it. Margaret nodded like a robot. She turned to the audience. First, always brush your hair, even if it's cut off like mine, just like Lola. She looked back at me. I pretended to do up some buttons. Then I pointed to my right. Always make sure you button up right, Margaret told the audience. Last one. Then I lifted my foot and crossed my fingers over my seat. Now wear green sneakers. Margaret said, green sneakers are the worst. Then she shook herself as she be asleep. She went over to the mic. Wait a minute, she said. I was just kidding about that one. You can wear any color sneakers you want, and green is the most fashionable of all. She zoomed me a smile so here all his teeth bracelets sparkled like diamonds in the spotlight. I zoomed to one extent with no teeth bracelet because I don't have them yet. After that, Margaret was okay. I went back and climbed over the director's chair, and Principal Rice gave me a huge smile, too. She leaned over and said, I have the answer for you, Clementine. Now, Clementine, about why you can't have a substitute. It's because there is no substitute for you. You are one of a kind. And that's when I realized I didn't have the worried feeling anymore. Instead, I had a proud feeling like the sun was rising inside my chest. The proud sun's rising feeling stayed with me all through the rest of the show, and no matter what I went wrong, which was plenty, Miss Rice and I just fixed it. Okay, the next one is I will tell you. The next one is Clementine at the family meeting. Make sure you keep watching because we will want to. Anyways, Clementine and the family meeting. It's almost time for the family meeting at Clementine's house, and Clementine is really nervous. What did she and her little brother do this time? Did she eat too much junk food? Maybe she misplayed one of Dad's tools. Both Mom and Dad have assured her that this meeting is only about good news, but Clementine is not so sure. My dad called the meeting to order. We are a very lucky family, he said. Very lucky. What's on the agenda? I asked. I'm getting to that, my dad said. Now families change. Well, it's hard to believe, but you're 8.5 now. And your brother's almost full. I clasped my hands over my brother's ears. Should we have a surprise party for him? You know what would make a great present? A gorilla. His birthday not for a few months. My mom said, I vote we table that discussion for another time. Oh, so what the good thing we have to talk about tonight? I asked. My dad looked at my mom and raised eyebrows. My mom looked back at him and smiled. She waved her pop to him just like a game show host, as if to say, show us these grace. crisis, Bill. My dad looked at my mom again, and this time he looked like he was going to cry. Not in a sad way, but in an I can't believe how lucky I am way, which was nuts because my mom is always here. Family is grow, he said again. And tonight he stopped and smiled at my mom again. And I, your mother, and I want to talk to you about an addition to our family. Our family is about to grow again. And then finally, I figured out what he was saying. I slipped pea part of my lap and jumped up to give my dad and mom a hug. Yes, thank you. Yes, you won't be sorry. I promise I take good care of it. You barely even know this is it. Thank you. Cauliflower was sitting on the floor, looking between me and our parents, completely clueless. I leaned over and squeezed him hard. We're getting a gorilla after all. My mom fell back against a chair, laughing. Oh, Clementine, she said, it's actually not a gorilla. I was a little tiny bit relieved. The truth is, since I got my kitten, I'm not sure I really want a gorilla anymore. That would be a really big litter box. They study my parents. What is it then? A pony? We're getting a pony. My dad pulled me over to him and held my hands. We are talking about your movie. This is for you too. What do you think about that? Well, what I thought about that was no thanks. I yelled it. No thanks. Caused a miracle. Then he looked up at me. No thanks what? Last one. No thanks to more people. Our family is full. There are 4 people, so we can 8 on it and once. Hot dogs came in packages of 8, so we can each have 2 at the playground. Boys on even for the seesaws. 4 can be all together in the car. 4 can be 2 and 2 sometimes, and nobody's lonely. 2 kids and 2 grown-ups, 2 boys and 2 girls. There are 4 sides to the kitchen table, so each get 1. 4 is a perfect number for a family. While being explained of all this, my brother has dug over to his favorite cupboard and found all the pots and pans out, like a personal sized tomato. He was sitting inside now, crashing lids together. I pointed to the mess in the kitchen, looked at the limber bean put toy trucks in the ZT, and we used a drill gun to stir the muffins this morning because we couldn't find the mixer and my rat is missing, which isn't my fault and so is my hat. And maybe that is my fault, but how is a baby going to help with anything? And that's what I want to know. It's all moving too fast and we're not ready. Oh, honey, my mom said, life is always moving too fast and we're never ready. That's how life is. But sometimes that's just perfect. She dragged Zucchini out of the cupboard and hauled him up to get his pajamas on. Your mother, my dad said, is exactly right. Things are always changing. That's life. And this, he spread his hands to the tornado's kitchen. Us, toy truck ZT, a missing hash drill gun mix as well. This is how we roll, Clementine. This is how we roll. Thanks for watching. Click on the like and subscribe button. Goodbye, everybody. I have to. Sorry, everybody. I have to take a rest. My eyes are sore. So goodbye. Ciao.